Powered by Riverside.
Hello, and welcome back to the Sad Fan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made us sad. There's no shortage of talking points, but there's a shortage of sports being played, right? We've got the WNBA to rely on. We're crawling towards the Women's World Cup, but that's in a weird time zone because it's being played in New Zealand and Australia. And we've got, baseball, which is cool to put on in the background for 19 hours. Oh, wait, they're trying to speed up the game. My bad. Sorry, baseball. You're doing your best. You're doing your best. But I suppose the funnest thing about this time of year is the transaction, right? We've got the transaction going on. And I want to start in the most fun place because the other two people on my list are not, well, maybe Wes will have some fun with one. But I want to start with Damian Lillard because he's trying to be like Aladdin and open up a whole new world.
Yeah, he has formally requested a trade out of Portland. And, I'm still sticking by what I said last week that good for him. Good for him. Mm-hmm. Go get your bag while you still can. Go find a team that's a contender. And
well, he's got the bag. He's looking for the ring.
Well, yeah, but,
he's on that Beyonce.
The additional.
He's looking at those teams. He's like, look, if you like it, you better put a ring on it. That's what you're bringing my way.
Yeah. And so he's trying to go to Miami, and it could be a good fit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how it shakes out, but at the same time, as a dyed-in-the-wool Blazers fan who's been there for a long, long time, this is what happens when Portland doesn't do anything for years and they just sit on one good player and they don't add anything around him. They don't draft well. They don't accelerate trades and really try to make something work. Their coaching is always mediocre at best. It's just a heartbreaking team to root for. But at least they occasionally come out with cool PDX carpet uniforms and stuff like that.
I must have missed those.
The carpet uniforms?
Yes, you can still buy them.
Yeah. Go online, Wes. What are you doing? Anyway, Wes, Damian Lillard, so Chelsea makes some great points. You feel like Portland never surrounds your great player with other great players, something to boost them up, right? And I'm thinking, I'm sitting here going through the Rolodex in my brain, who was the best player to play with Damian Lillard? And I'm like, is it CJ McCollum? Is it LaMarcus Aldridge? Who is it?
Aldridge.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely Aldridge.
Yeah.
But, he was also just done. You could tell he was burnt out from seasons of those two having to carry an entire team, which just does not work under any circumstances. You can't do it for 84 games a year.
Yeah, and I know last week I was like, they need to keep Damian Lillard, and I didn't want him to be traded, but I mean, he's requesting it, so if that's what he wants, then bye-bye.
Thank you. What is it? Thanks for the memories. Fallout Boy.
Thanks for the memories.
I mean, he did some amazing things. I remember the advent of Dame time in the playoffs when they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals and ran into a juggernaut, right? But he hit a shot from almost half court to end a game. And that was the start of Dame time. And he's I've been doing that since high school. Yeah, but that's awesome, man. But no one knew about it until that big game. And it's because Portland is a small market. It's one of the smallest markets in the NBA. And if he doesn't have an audience, he can't be seen for how great he actually is. So as much as we say we don't live in the same world where small markets don't matter as much, or it doesn't matter as much what market you're in because of social media, I think that's false, right? It's almost like the East Coast bias in college football. If we can't see them play, we can't see that greatness and market it. We just get it on YouTube clips. And there's only so much they could do with YouTube clips or Instagram clips or, Twitter feeds. But I enjoyed watching him play. I thought he was great, mostly because I knew that him by himself could never beat the Warriors.
Exactly. No. He needed more support, and I mean, my biggest concern, like, going forward is whoever he's traded to, whatever that deal shakes out to be, I know, we all know, it's no secret that the Blazers are going to accept, like, 6 mediocre players, right? You know, they're willing to go for, like...
Tyler Hero unfollowed the Heat, and I think Tyler Hero's getting a bad rap for missing the playoffs. I think people forget he was, like, over 20 points a game scorer, 6th man of the year before he broke his hand in the playoffs. And everybody's beating him up like he wasn't good. Now, he can't play defense, but Damian Lillard wasn't known for his defense. I don't know. That might be a good pickup. So you're looking at probably, and we got to move off this topic, but you're looking at what Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, who's not good, but he's trying. He tries hard. Maybe they don't want to give up Martin. They don't want to give up Martin, but maybe Martin, and then some first-round draft picks, or you get the Nets involved in a 3-team trade, is what I'm hearing, and then you don't even know.
It's going to be a 3-team trade.
Yeah, but he wants he wants the Heat. Go ahead.
There's multiple teams that are interested in getting into that trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe the Rockets will, since they're willing to pay $80 million for Dylan Brooks. But that's a topic for another day. We don't have time for that. Wes, you were wrong. You were wrong. Draymond Green came back. Good. I told you it wasn't over yet. And Draymond Green went back to the work.
Enjoy the cancer.
No, it turns out Jordan Poole was the cancer. Like I told you, remember on the episode I said, it might be Jordan Poole because no one seems to like this guy. He played terribly. And now there's all kinds of articles coming out that no one could put up with it.
Draymond Green's going to suck next year.
Totally avoid everything I just said.
I don't care about like the little
this down.
The little people or whatever. Like sources say Jordan Poole was like tough to play with or whatever. All that matters is that Draymond Green is an asshole, and he's on the decline, and you guys overpaid for him.
Oh, I think they overpaid for sure. Sure. $25 million a year for an aging player that was not great last year. Defensively,
he's a D-bag.
He's
universally disliked.
He is invaluable. But I don't know, Chelsea, what do you think of a facilitator in the middle of the team that's kind of the coach on the court? Do you think that still matters in today's game?
I think that in some ways it does, especially since, we're moving to this like fantastical new era of positionless basketball. You still need to have like someone who is, really leading the floor.
Yeah.
And is directing the show, the conductor, if you will. So, I mean, if everyone has their trust in that person, then it works out pretty well. And, the ball's flowing through them and then everyone moves accordingly. Whereas, instead of just your set standard plays, like, go run a pick here, go screen there. But I'm not sure. I'm laughing at my brother, but at the same time, I'm kind of like... Is someone just decided?
Are you about to say at the same time I agree with him?
Is someone having like a PR vendetta against Jordan Poole? Are they just like leaking this stuff because they just?
I think he's an a-hole. Did you read some of the there's a I think it's a rapper and I can't think of who's name, but he has a podcast. I was reading the notes from his podcast, and apparently it was a big verbal spat with Draymond Green that happened in that moment. But apparently he's actually, to quote Wes, the D-bag. He talks a lot of smack, and a lot of the veteran players were tired of it. He doesn't work as hard, and he caused a lot of friction in the locker room.
Right. So, I don't know. I still always think that they're, like, especially since this is coming out at a very interesting time, and it hasn't been, coming out in
once he's got off the team.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if maybe the person, or, like, that the source for all of these articles and all of these podcasts and all of these different shows is maybe one, perhaps two people that really just have like that little, what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Vendetta?
No, not vendetta, but like they just
have beef.
Yeah, sorry, vindictive. Maybe he's vindictive, or you trying to say he's being vindictive?
Yeah, just someone who really just has had an issue with him, maybe over the smallest thing, like,
Yeah.
accidentally shoved him as he was not paying attention walking into the locker room one day. You know?
How dare you shove me, Jordan Poole?
I'm a veteran. You know.
All right. Well, here's another player we all have issue with because they've bought into all the conspiracy theories and they spread all the conspiracy theories, and then for some reason their followers that only read headlines believe everything they say. They got a deal. And I don't think anyone was going to give this person a deal, so he had to take what he could get. And I'm talking about Kyrie Irving, who managed to work his way into getting less money than Fred VanVleet. And no disrespect to Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet was fine, but last year he was not fine. And he still managed to get a much larger contract than Kyrie Irving. And I think it's funny because on another show, I'm going to credit Amin Al-Hassan with this. He said there's got to be verbiage in this contract to where if he doesn't play, he doesn't get paid. Because I think it's $127 million over 3 years. But a lot of what I'm hearing in the NBA was nobody wanted to pay him because he doesn't play.
Yeah, well, he doesn't play, and he's a distraction off the court. You just have to wonder sometimes about what kind of, is he even living in reality?
Yeah.
Does he understand that 2 + 2 is 4 and not, the Pyramid of Giza? He is it's alternate dimensions with this dude.
He knows the Earth is flat, okay? He's 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
10 steps ahead to leading the human race towards extinction. I mean, it is really just something to watch in real time. It is amazing.
I want to tease his intelligence, Chelsea. I really, really do. But he's found a way to work 70 nights a year, maybe practice, we don't know, and make almost $500 million.
Right. But that does not equal intelligence. And
no.
Well,
but maybe he's smart when it comes to making money.
He might be smart, but he is not wise. He has lost a lot of sponsors from just running his mouth, from just putting these clearly false statements out there to impressionable youth. And this is the age of QAnon, where apparently the cool and trendy thing to do is to believe in the wildest, most grandest, all-encompassing conspiracies that you can ever possibly imagine. They must all be true because nothing else in the world makes sense. And I agree, nothing in the world makes sense right now because of these stupid idiots.
I was gonna say it's more who can come up with the conspiracy that the most people believe. Who can I get to follow the craziest idea? Probably Wes. Wes comes up with some goofy stuff. And he knows it's not true, but he can be very convincing because he's got that deadpan thing.
I can make millions. That's my new job. I'm just gonna grift. I'm just gonna get on the grift train.
Yeah. Did you hear? Okay, we got to move on. But did you hear about the kid that was holding up the signs at the games that's I drove all this way to see my favorite player so-and-so, and it was a grift the whole time because the family knew that the team would reach out if that sign got on ESPN, so they'd strategically put him in front of cameras, and the team would reach out and put him in amazing seats and get to meet the team and get autographs and stuff. And he did this grift to multiple teams throughout the NBA, and finally somebody caught on and they're like, wait, that's the same kid every time.
Good
that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yes, but it makes it
suck
for everybody else.
For everyone. Yes, thank you, Chelsea. Yeah. You nailed it. It's ruining it for the real people. So it makes me so mad because they're... Go ahead.
Sorry, I have an interjection. Did you guys hear, speaking of conspiracies, weird things, and little kids, did you guys hear that Gronk, the real Gronkowski, is actually suing Baby Gronk and putting out a cease and desist? He put a cease and desist. Baby Gronk did not cease and desist using his name and likeness for promotional images, and so now he's being sued.
Okay, I mean it
so
should be his dad,
sometimes
right?
does end. Yes, it is his dad. It's obviously cannot sue a minor.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe stop grifting. We live in the world of grifts and cheaters and scammers, and for some reason we live in a society that worships people that stole from them, and it's blowing my mind. I'm you're part of the people that got thefted. I don't know how to say that. Thieved.
Right?
You were one of the ones that was thieved. Yeah.
You were a victim.
And you're hell yeah, get it. And I'm you're one of the people that watched all those live videos. They got them paid. Stop watching these videos. It's why are the Kardashians famous? Because you won't stop watching the show. Stop watching the show. Don't watch the clips, and they're not famous anymore. The more you talk, I always tell my classes this. have you ever seen an ad you absolutely hated or you thought was stupid? And they go, yeah, of course. I was like, they got you. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, that's all they wanted. What do you mean? Yep. They just wanted you to watch and talk about it. So it was a terrible ad. We all know it was a terrible ad, but here we are talking about it.
Or
they
like
win.
On social media, like someone will post something like completely like nonsense or whatever, and people like will blow up the comments. Mm-hmm. Yeah, will like rage comment, and then it's like you're just feeding the views and the interaction with this video, and they're making more money. Just ignore it and go on with your freaking life.
Yeah, it's wild, but we've got to move on. Now, another story that's near and dear to my heart is the ESPN layoffs. And Chelsea, thank you so much for sourcing this and getting us all the names. But there are two names that hit me kind of hard. Sorry. And it's because I feel like I've been watching them my entire adult life, and I couldn't believe it. And it was Neil Everett, right? Yep. And that's your boy, by the way. He's the Oregon Duck. Neil Everett, the Oregon Duck. And he was amazing, and he was funny, and he was different. He had that conversation, the commercial, with Roger Federer, where he goes, yo, if there's ESPN anchor rankings, where would you put me? And he goes, I don't know, maybe 7? And he goes, I'm definitely top 5. And then, of course, we had Todd McShay. How can you get rid of Todd McShay? Did the draft just in April and did his Todd McShay mock draft for 2024, right, that they force him to do every year, and then they laid him off.
He's been their NFL guru for like 15 years?
Yeah, and him and Mel Kiper.
Yeah, Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Him and Mel Kiper had that rapport, that cute little arguing, and they had a podcast together for ESPN.
Yeah, they did. I do believe that Neil Everett's was at least somewhat voluntary.
Okay.
Because he did do like a retirement show. He did have like a special thing. But I just want to note that Neil Everett is one of the coolest dudes. My brother and I have met him. He was so kind and so genuine. Was happy to take pictures with us. Was happy to actually just sit and chat with us for a little bit, even though we were absolute bozos and clowns at the time and a little bit drunk. But he was just a solid dude. So I wish him the best in his next era. But I mean, there are a lot of names on this list: Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Keyshawn Johnson. Like it just kind of keeps going.
I don't like Keyshawn Johnson. I've never liked Keyshawn Johnson as an analyst. Or nobody deserves to lose their jobs. Let me preface what I was about to say with that. Nobody deserves to lose their jobs, especially this way. But I never thought Keyshawn Johnson was good at the job. I thought he would just say what other people said louder. And I'm like, that's not analysis. And it was bad analysis. He was famous for always being wrong.
That is true. But I mean, he is a household name, like he's some of these names I don't recognize, but it's a long list. Matt Hasselbeck, who covered a lot of NFL games as like a color commentator on the side, he's gone. I mean, it's just kind of, we talked about how Disney was not, like we thought, reading the tea leaves that Disney was not going to sell ESPN. This set of decisions kind of has me thinking a little bit differently, that maybe perhaps it is.
Like, I think they're posturing for streaming, to be honest. Go ahead, Wes.
Oh, I was just going to say, I feel like they're keeping a lot of like the argumentative guys. And it's the same thing that I was talking about, like it's the rage or whatever, like the
argument television.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people just like, oh no, you're wrong or whatever, and then it just generates clicks, and it's so freaking annoying. And
I feels so manufactured to me at this point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chelsea. Yeah. Sorry,
I was going to say Stephen A. Smith is like the classic and long-standing example of this, and everybody hates to watch him, and yet they still tune in
I don't think everybody
numbers.
Hates. I don't want to be that hyperbolic, but or absolutist, pardon me.
But
I got you.
He can be difficult to watch.
Yeah.
For every night.
It's a bit much.
Should we start arguing all the time?
No, I hate that. That's in fact, I specifically designed this show and all the shows on our
Fry,
network.
You're wrong.
To not do that. I wanted smart people with diverse opinions on shows. And we're creating that at the network, and I'm very proud of that because we have another show coming up soon. We don't have the official name yet, but it's starring Natasha Sebastiani from the Ultimatum Queer Love, and she has decided to collaborate with us and do her podcast, her coming out party. So it's another diverse voice we're adding to our arsenal, and I'm proud to say this is our longest standing show with the same cast. So I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. We've had our ups, our downs, but as far as the first year was concerned, I think we crushed it. And I think shows like this, Wes, to answer your question correctly, even though you were looking for a joke answer, I think shows like this, we're going to get to fill in a void. Now, granted, we're not going to ever be Barstool and be super racist and get away with it. And we're not going to be, and we're not going to be argument television. We are going to fill a gap that I think other people need with diverse opinions. And that's originally where the name The Sad Fan came from. Was I got tired of women like being told, show me your feet, or, oh, what do you know about sports? Because, you know, you have a chest. All this stuff pissed me off. And I was like, this is so annoying because 90% of these people, 100% of these people are smarter than the person commenting. Sorry, I had to correct myself.
No, absolutely.
I overshot or I undershot. Right? They're smarter. And there's a reason why I think Mina Kimes is going to be the most valuable free agent coming up here very soon, because Mina Kimes is amazing. And that's another one of your hometown people, by the way. She's a Seattle person. You know, she has one tattoo on her whole body, and you know what it is?
The Space
Sox?
Nope. The Super Bowl that the Seattle Seahawks won.
There we go.
Yeah, apparently it was funny. I was listening to an interview with her, and there was a game that she was watching with the Seahawks, and she said when she first came to ESPN, she was still blurring the lines between her fandom and being an analyst, a reporter, right? And they would have a big room at ESPN with all the games going, and something happened in the Seattle game, and she kicked the chair in front of her and had to walk out of the room. But I think she's juxtaposition to Stephen A., right? She gives us, instead of arguing and yelling and rah, 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 she gives us informed analysis about what's going on, and she knows the sport better than 90% of the people that aren't playing the sport. So I don't know. I think it's a very interesting direction. But yeah, what do you think about what I said earlier, Chelsea, when I mentioned that I thought ESPN was getting set up for streaming? I think they're pulling out of terrestrial radio and looking at moving into the streaming platform.
I definitely see that. Like, it is hard for me to access, like, just, you know, randomly to access talk radio because I have to, like, flip through, especially with HD now. I never know exactly where I'm going to land on the dial anymore. You have to know exactly what it is, or you have to flip through a lot of hot, flaming garbage to get there. So, young people, we're not listening to the radio. We get in the car, you know, if you've got a car, and you plug in your phone and you listen to your Spotify, right? You listen to your Apple, whatever.
Or Apple, yeah, okay. Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah, you listen to your Apple Podcast Network, your Spotify, your iHeart Music, wherever you can get the Sad Fan.
Yeah, exactly. You're listening to this podcast, or you're listening to, you know, just your bops, like
YouTube
whatever.
Red.
But you're not doing that while you're driving, I hope.
Red, YouTube Red, you can shut down the screen on your phone and still listen to whatever video you were watching.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we just aren't listening to radio anymore. So why is it still a thing, honestly?
Because it's cheap.
And if the world melts, AM is going to be what we have.
If the world melts, if the world melts, we are listening to ESPN. I'm sorry.
People still do listen to the radio, like the morning shows and stuff like that.
Drive time radio?
I'm not saying it's dead. It is not a dead media form yet. But it is definitely
just Michael Myers-y the shit out of radio right now. She's like, just fucking
yeah. Well, I mean, it was 40 years ago that video killed the radio star. So, I mean, you know, it has been, we've been just carrying that dead horse for a long time.
Slow death. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, but, no, I agree with you, Chelsea, largely. I know I'm teasing, but largely your point is valid. Now Wes's is also, yes, drive time radio still exists, but I think ESPN has a baseball problem. The audience is just
so
getting
when you
too
say
old.
streaming, like, do you think, like, are you talking like they're trying to build up ESPN Plus?
Yeah, I really do. They want people to pay monthly. There's talk, if you listen to sports business podcasts, of the Super Bowl possibly going pay-per-view in the next 5 to 10 years. The Chelsea sadness that came across their face when I said that. There is talk of that happening in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, we live in a what is it? Not a freemium. What's the word I'm looking for?
Subscription.
Yeah, it's a subscription world, but there's a word for it with the apps. Right? Is it freemium that I'm thinking of?
It's freemium, where it's free, but you have to watch a lot of ads, or you can pay.
Or you could pay.
Pay to not see
a
them.
pay-to-play society now, where, like, I hate it because I can't even play, like, a Madden online or a MLB or a FIFA online because all these kids, where are they getting the damn money to do this, are doing the Ultimate Team stuff. One, that's dumb. It's not even, like, granted, it's supposed to be fantasy, but you're playing with teams you've built up to be, like, hundreds, and it's not fun anymore. Like, you've built a perfect team. How are you having fun doing this? But the attraction is they'll pay to be perfect. Does that make sense? Like, I was gonna say like plastic surgery, but I didn't know if it was appropriate.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like the video game like loot box thing or whatever. You pay to unlock all these like cool things in the video game that like you used to just unlock through
exclusive.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Or cheats.
Yeah.
You guys remember Cheat Code Central? Like the website you could go to, or the Game Genie you could plug into like your Sega Genesis? Like there was so many cool things, and they're eliminating all these nostalgic things. I guess you and I and Chelsea are just screaming at the clouds, like, stop making things easier. We had to work for it.
No, I mean, when we talk about something that is like kind of quintessentially American, is you can possibly get with the Super Bowl, and you want to posit that it will be pay-per-view. That's when the NFL starts becoming irrelevant. Like, completely irrelevant. You
don't think people will pay $49.99 to have a house party?
So here's the thing. Exactly. So people are going to go to bars. They're going to, go to like public venues. But also I think a lot of people, and it probably a more surprising amount than you would think, are going to probably just not watch. They just like be like, nope, that's it. That's
Are you gonna
watch?
watch?
All the people who just like kind of tune in, like just like because it's the Super Bowl, and then like the people who just watch the commercials and stuff like that.
And the house party people.
Sure, but I mean, you still have like rural America. You have like the exurbs of America where the house parties aren't really a thing. Like you still have some core dedicated fan bases that are gone.
I think they're going to make more money, Chelsea. I really do.
I don't think so.
So you and I are on opposite sides of. Now I don't want it to be. Please don't mistake what I'm saying for I want this. I don't want this to happen.
But I think that we are quickly and very much approaching a ledge where people's willingness to buy all of these things, because it is something that it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, right?
Yeah.
You pay $1.99 for this. I've got a New York Times and a Wall Street Journal and a Washington Post subscription. Well, you know what? Like, I should probably cut one or two or maybe all three of them. But with social media being what it is, I try to keep myself informed in other ways. So, I mean, when you have to pay for your news, when you have to pay for your music, when you have to pay for just everything, because these traditional media formats, over-the-air broadcasting, FM radio, AM radio, they're all kind of just dwindling away, and everything that was kind of just out in the public sphere is now behind a pay gate.
But could it be also that these companies did a bad job of just trying to mass produce content, and they're putting like I gotta stop saying this, because I want to be on, if Netflix ever does like a live show or sports, I would love to be on it. I know I'm not their first choice, and I know we're not their first choice as a network, but Netflix has they're just mashing stuff together and putting it out. And that's what ESPN was doing. Like the morning show they had with the Le Batard show was such a fun show to listen to. Mike and Mike in the morning. Sorry. was a good show. I mean, it was fun. It was wholesome. It was opinionated. It wasn't my favorite, but I got it, right? It worked. They meshed together. There was chemistry there. The show they replaced it with Keyshawn Johnson, Max Kellerman, and Jason Williams was unlistenable. It was so bad. It was so bad. I gave it a 5-minute chance, one segment, and I was like, I'm out. This is bad radio. Like, this is not entertaining. This is bad to listen to. I don't feel like I'm involved in this at all. I feel like Keyshawn won't shut up. Like, he keeps talking over people. Like, shut up. You're on a radio with 2 other people. Like, let them talk too. You're annoying. but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I hope they don't charge for the Super Bowl, but we'll see what happens. We do have an event coming up that they're not going to pay-per-view, right, Wes? We've got the Home Run Derby coming up for baseball. MLB
All-Star Weekend is coming up.
MLB has the baseball. Yeah, go ahead. So, sorry, Wes. I didn't mean to step on your toes.
So
what's going on with this Home Run Derby?
Well, so Seattle's getting the All-Star Weekend for the first time since 2001.
Oh, that'll be fun for you.
So you know what that means. Jacked up merchandise, like $300 for a Mariners jersey with the All-Star
Day patch. Oh, I thought it meant
patch.
Hammered Wes walking around Seattle.
I mean, it probably will. But so Saturday is the Futures game, which is going to have like a bunch of minor league players up and coming. And then it also has the celebrity game. Monday is the Home Run Derby, and then Tuesday is the All-Star game. So the Home Run Derby, we got Julio Rodriguez, Mariners.
Mm-hmm. He's the only Mariner
So he's doing the Home Run Derby, and then we have one other Mariner doing the All-Star game, and that's Luis Castillo, pitcher.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, we're doing the All-Star game, but we suck, so there's no one actually going to be playing in it.
Yeah, I think every team gets one for MLB, so.
Right, yeah. We got some
You got the participation
hitters.
Trophy.
Pretty much.
You tried.
Pretty much. But yeah, Pete Alonso, Randy Arozarena, Mookie Betts, Adolis Garcia, Vladimir Guerrero, Luis Robert Jr., and Adley Rutschman are also
Guerrero
in the home
Jr.,
run.
to be clear. Vlad Guerrero is not coming out of retirement.
Right. Yeah, it should be exciting. I think I'm going to be going on Monday to the Home Run Derby, so it should be fun.
That's like an all-day thing, too. The Home Run Derby is an event that you go to, and it lasts hours, right? Yeah. So you'll have some fun, and I think Pete Alonso is going for his 3rd title, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's won 2 years in a row, and I think he's going for a 3rd.
Juan Soto won last year.
Did he?
Yeah, and Julio Rodriguez was the runner-up.
Okay, so
Julio Rodriguez also had the most home runs last year, but he didn't in the final round.
I was going to say, maybe Pete Alonso is going for his 3rd title overall then. And I know that there was a funny stat that was a little ridiculous, that Pete, because I think you get $1 million for every time you win the Home Run Derby. And he had made more money, because he was on his rookie deal, he had made more money in the Home Run Derby than on his contract.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
I think it's going to be fun. I think Seattle's a great city for it, right, Chelsea? Because they've got all the mass transportation out there.
Yeah,
it's going to be summer. Sorry, it's going to be summer. It's going to be beautiful weather.
The mountain will be out, which means that it is going to be sunny, gorgeous, with Mount Rainier in the backdrop. The stadiums are right there on the waterfront, almost. Mm-hmm. And it is just very beautiful and scenic. I hope everyone who's traveling out there has a phenomenal time in one of my favorite aesthetic cities. Favorite city? Nah. But
really? I love Seattle.
It's a beautiful one to look at.
I do love Seattle. I love it. I love it. I can't believe you don't like it there.
It's above Houston, for sure.
The funny thing is, on another terrestrial radio show I was listening to, Wes, or Chelsea, sorry, you were the one Michael Myers-ing it. It was, they said, why are they paying all these bad players? And they said, because the Houston tax. You gotta go to Houston. But I think the real reason is the NBA has a salary floor. You have to hit the salary floor. I think that's the real reason. But the Houston tax was a funny concept. Like, yeah, you gotta pay. Yeah. It's like the Sacramento tax, right? You gotta pay a player a little bit more to go to this city. Sacramento's not even a bad city. Like, people hate on that. It's not the best city that the NBA has, but it's not a terrible city. You've got the Bay Area right there. You've got a lot around you, and you live in one of the cheaper areas. It's like 3 hours.
Right there.
You know what? They can always say, hey, we're not St. Louis.
What is
we're not Detroit. Cleveland,
Louis,
not
St.
Detroit.
Louis is actually supplanted both of them for the most violent city in the U.S.
Oh my God, what are we doing here? Let's move on. All right.
Yeah.
Right, we're just like thrashing through cities. I thought Houston was fun, and my siblings were like, "No, we are going to take out. This is our chance, Fry. We're taking out every single city we hate right now." And you two are just like, "This city sucks. This city sucks. I hate this city."
Sorry.
Whoa, what just happened? So I started off the show. No, it's funny. I just didn't expect like 6 cities to get sideswiped in that.
Just take a bat to them.
Yeah. I'm sure every city has its own charm somewhere for its residents. Sorry, but for its residents, to be clear, is what I said. It's not every city's for everyone. Like I love Albuquerque, and not a lot of people love Albuquerque, and I think it's one of the best cities in the whole world, but people don't know that because, it's desert. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, I don't want to get off today without talking about the WNBA and how great the Las Vegas Aces have been this year, and I want to shout out again, I know that I do this way too much with Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum, but they're all-stars again, and the Las Vegas Aces have only lost 1 game, and Becky Hammon has them cruising. They're crushing it. Yeah, they're killing it, and I think they're on their way to 2 titles in 2 years.
I've got to agree. I mean, unless the Liberty do something during their playoff push, because they are second, but
they're stacked.
I don't know. I mean, they just played the Aces. They definitely lost.
They got blown out.
The Aces lost to the Connecticut Sun, who are 3rd overall.
I think you had it better the first time you said it. I think the second time made it worse. The Connecticut Sun. It's late. It's late where you are.
It's
to be
late.
Fair to you.
It is very late. But yeah, the Sun are not a bad team either. But I really just. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at the players. I'm looking at, what's going on there. I don't want to say the Aces have it in the bag, but man, they are going to be very, very, very difficult to beat.
You know who's not difficult to beat? The Storm. They suck. 4-12.
They lost Sue Bird. Sue Bird, the GOAT. Sue Bird left. Breanna Stewart left. They're in a rebuilding phase. Sue Bird could not play forever. Somehow Diana Taurasi has drank from the fountain of life.
And she's still playing.
Yeah, she's at a super high level. Like I don't know. I think the Phoenix Mercury are struggling this year, but it's not because of
earlier this year when we were talking about WNBA. I didn't realize Diana Taurasi was still playing, and I was like, wasn't she like from like early 2000s? Like what? Yeah. I was like, she's not playing anymore, and I was like, wow, okay.
Yep.
She's a beast.
I need to pay more attention.
She's a beast. She's amazing. You guys are amazing. Sorry to the audience. We did have to make the move because it was 4th of July, and Wes likes to run around in short shorts and shoot off fireworks on that holiday, so we couldn't have him come in here with his body paint.
America!
So we decided to push the podcast to today. I know it's second week in a row. We should be back at our normal time next week. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to go to the Sad Fan Podcast Network on YouTube. Don't forget to check out some of our other properties in Popcorn and Beer and Gorp. We look forward to seeing you back. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. We'll see you next